Hello guys, welcome to another virtual science lesson, and today we're going to talk about a very specific ecosystem. A very specific ecosystem because it doesn't normally occur in the landscape. It's mostly made by humans by cutting down huge areas of forests, and in their place we have something that looks exactly like this. And this place is called a meadow, po polsku łąka. And basically, meadows mostly were created by people. So, in places where there used to be a forest, the forest was cut down, and on this area there was grass planted, and then people started to use a meadow for their own purposes. There are, however, natural meadows called alpine tundra, po polsku hale. And this is a very specific type of a meadow that occurs only in high mountains. As you can see, we have those peaks here. Here is a valley that goes down from this point, and those terrains here are covered in grass, and this is a meadow. And guys, when we take a look at a meadow right here, this is a picture from Krakow, we can see that up until this point, everything here is just grass with some other herbaceous plants. And this is important because meadows are home only to herbaceous plants, annuals that grow for a year only and then they die, or perennials that live for many years in a row. So this is worth noting. Annuals jednoroczne, and perennials wieloletnie albo inaczej byliny. Okay, guys, and speaking of a meadow, let's move on to plants that grow there. And basically, meadows are home to grasses, grasses of all kinds. Here is one example of a grass that you might spot uh, in a meadow. And let's focus a little bit on this grass because grasses are very specific plants. Here you can see the stem of the grass. Here you can see the leaf of the grass, and those here are flowers. And those flowers resemble nothing the flowers that we know that are beautiful and colorful. And guys, why is it like this? Why those flowers aren't so attractive? Why aren't they as beautiful? The answer is simple. Flowers have to be colorful in order to attract pollinators, which are insects that carry pollen from one plant to another, and then it allows the plant to create a seed after it has been fertilized. In case of a grass, this role is up to the wind. So once the wind blows, it carries the pollen from one plant to another, from one flower to another, and then the fertilization occurs. What's also important in case of grasses is the fact that even if you cut down grass like this, example mowing the lawn, it will keep on growing because grasses, unlike many other plants, if not definitely most of the plants, they grow from down below to above, which means that even if you cut it here, it will keep on growing from below to upwards. Another example of a plant that is commonly met on a meadow is clover. Po polsku koniczyna. Another example are cornflowers. Po polsku chabry. Guys, both of them are extremely important for the meadow itself because their roots are capable of captivating specific chemical compounds, and basically that once they die, they can release those compounds back to the soil, but in a different form. So different species of plants can now absorb them. And the example that is commonly known is the dandelion. Po polsku mniszek. This one actually grows pretty much everywhere. You can spot them, especially in the spring, even in the city, whenever there's a piece of a grass, most likely dandelions will be growing there. Those are also important plants for the meadow ecosystem because dandelions are pretty nutritious food for the animals that live there. And speaking of animals, animals living in the meadow ecosystem. And guys, first of all, insects. Owady. Whenever there are plenty of plants that create colorful flowers, that create nectar, that create pollen, there will be insects. And insects are pretty important in this ecosystem because they pollinate the plants. They are pollinators, czyli zapylacze, which means that they carry pollen, pyłek, from one plant to another plant, allowing them to reproduce. Insects also are the food for bigger animals, such as, let's say, birds. So birds also live in the meadow ecosystem. And those are small birds, just like larks, skowronki, but also lapwings, czajki, and also bigger ones such as storks, bociany. There are also different animals because insects are animals, and there are different ones, bigger ones, that are called rodents, gryzonia. And here we have basically mice and maybe in some cases rats. There are also animals such as moles, krety, which serve a huge role in the process of fertilizing the ground because they dig underground tunnels that on one hand might destroy the roots of plants, causing problems in their functioning, but on the other hand, they allow water and air to get into the ground, which basically is a good thing. Otherwise, all the roots would rot. If it comes to meadows as such, meadows are also the place for animals pasturage, which is the place where animals that we humans keep can eat something. So this is also worth noting down. Czyli po polsku łąki to miejsca wypasu zwierząt. And guys, basically the animals that feed on meadows that are the simplest examples is cattle, czyli bydło, czyli inaczej krowy, cows. And guys, we the humans keep the cows for a few reasons. The first reason is of course milk, and we drink cow's milk. The second reason we keep them is their meat, which is called beef. Beef meat of cows. And nothing can be wasted, so basically their skin, once they die, is processed and used as leather. And we use this leather to manufacture shoes, purses, bags, and other accessories. Another example of animals that are fed on meadows are sheep, ovce. And guys, we keep them for their hair that grows on the surface of their bodies, which is called wool. And wool is a really good material because not only you don't have to harm any animals in order to get it, because you just shave a sheep, nothing is happening, the hair keeps on growing and the sheep is alive and everything's fine. But the wool has also some great thermal properties. So when you have woolen clothes, they are extremely warm, but on the other hand, it lets your skin breathe, and also it can isolate you from the heat that is outside or from the cold that is outside. We can also drink milk. Their milk is processed into cheese, for instance, and cheese that we know as oscypek, for instance, and also their meat. Another way of using a meadow is collecting all the dry grass which is called the hay, siano, and then storing it and processing it and giving it to other animals that we keep, that the farmers keep. So basically, you collect it in the summer and then you store it for winter and you have something to feed your animals with. Guys, this is it for today. Oh, let's go back to this illustration. You have sheep. Those are sheep in here. Sorry for the low quality. And sheep are typically held in the mountain regions. They are not that common anywhere outside mountains. Guys, so I want you to remember after this lesson that a meadow is basically a vast area of land where mostly grasses and basically herbaceous plants grow. This place has no trees and is home to various organisms such as grasses, variety of grasses, many species, different species of grasses grow there. Clover can be met here, cornflowers, dandelions, but also this is a home to hundreds of species of animals. The most numerous group of animals are insects, and they are absolutely necessary. They are crucial for the survival of this home ecosystem because they're pollinators, which means that they pollinate flowers, that they carry pollen from one flower to another, and this process allows to create seeds. There are also various birds of all kinds. Some of them create their nests on the trees, but they feed on meadows, and some of them just create their nests on the ground. There are rodents, such as mice and rats. There are moles that live under the ground and plant and pretty huge variety of different animals. Meadows are also the place for animal pasturage, which means that we just uh, lead our animals to a meadow where they can feed themselves. And those are cattle, which is cows, or sheep. And also, if something is not eaten, then we can always collect dry grass, which is called hay, and keep it and store it for later. Okay, guys, so this is it for today. Thanks for your attention, and please look for the assignment that is assigned to this lesson.